So first, I really want to thank you very much for the show. I've loved it ever since it originally started. Second, I just have a question. I know that you really like the piggies throughout the show. I'm just wondering, what was the obsession towards the end with the moose?
I don't think it was an obsession with anything on the show. I like piggies. I think it's a funny word. Visually, I like drawing anything that looks like there's balloon. I like the balloon animals. You know, it's like literally a pig, or literally one of moose. It's not literally a moose. It's just a pig with antlers. Wait till I draw that. I just think that it just kind of became a rotating thing. I think we were doing. No one on the show particularly said do a whole lot, but it's stuff for the show. So, no real obsession. It was just kind of a thing that we just kept going back to, moose and just stupid sounding things. Certain words are just funny, and I don't know what it was about. It's an emotional thing. Let us go over.
Yeah, I'll watch time for it.
Because we want to have time to show whatever this thing is. It's a clip from the show that I worked on. I did all the designs for it. I've never seen the trailer, so you'll be watching it with me. So if it's horrible, don't mind me.
We want that right at the end, right?
A little bit before the end, in case people have questions.
Yes, we have time. I'll watch it. All right.
Okay, so I have two questions. One is, I've been wondering, how old is Jhonen?
Dib, I always imagine being around like 11 or so. Zim is older than any of us in the room. I just love the idea that these guys, like Ergens, for whatever reason, live on a way longer timeline than humans, but still have the mental capacity of just idiots.
My friend and I have been arguing this over a while now. What color is Ergens blood exactly?
Kind of like Klingon blood, but transparent. Transparent pink.
Like Pepto Bismol.
I've noticed that you have a very strong cyberpunk theme along several of your comics.
I like the machine.
That was kind of
Steampunk, though, what is your stand on it? Would you ever end up doing comics steampunk related?
No. I think it's there's, depending on what it is, there's some pretty attractive stuff, design-wise, visually, but I don't really have any ideas that sort of fit into that, and it's kind of a thing that seems overdone for me. Like, I don't see myself adding to it.
When you first started the show, did you have any idea how the characters were going to look, like your designs?
Yeah, a little bit. I knew Zim was going to be a play on the typical green Martian character, and he kind of got a little bit away from that, much harder edges, but he started off as much rounder designs, but Dib is just kind of the natural progression of the kind of a template character that I draw. Like, he just looks like my usual thing. They developed as we were working on the show, like coming up with all the original designs. When I had the idea, I didn't know what they were going to look like, but when it came down to like designing them, they popped up pretty quickly.
I was just wondering if you intended for the characters to have any kind of character development throughout the series, or if they were just supposed to have the same kind of, character build throughout the...
For the most part, the characters were, like, the show resets itself after each episode. We didn't want to worry too much about through line, characters learning lessons or anything like that. That wasn't what we wanted to do. It was mostly just for laughs. So towards the end of the show, we wanted to bring back little things like Dibs, having tax spaceship and stuff, because it just lets him get a little bit more mobile. He can get off Earth on his own if he wanted to, but that never happened. So sorry.
You said something about Super Meat Boy. I was curious, correct me if I'm wrong, but you did do the soundtrack cover for the soundtrack to The Binding of Isaac. I was wondering if you ever played that game.
I didn't do the cover for The Binding of Isaac. No, you're as wrong as I've heard anyone be. The composer, Danny B-Style, on Twitter, asked me to do some work for a collection of, it might have been the Isaac stuff, like a special compilation of it, but I didn't do any of that artwork for what you've seen out there. She has a second question.
You got that first one.
Make this one a good one.
Okay. When you came about doing the music video for the song White?
Oh, I already answered that question. Yes, I did. Wake up!
I was curious, ever since I read about this, what possessed you to come to a place full of us?
I'm glad you asked that. I make terrible mistakes. Terrible mistakes. Hello. You are all my mistakes.
I have two questions this time. One,
People are getting greedy. There's a lot of people here, and everyone's like, I got two questions. I got three questions.
okay, lasers or smoke machines?
Normally, in those questions, I would just kind of like, but lasers definitely. Blowing things.
When you were doing the show, were you actually planning on adding more perfection to the characters of InvaderCON as they were progressing on through the show?
More what?
Perfection.
Perfection.
More, since you're so goth, I mean, I was
I'm not hearing anything he's saying.
Since you're so gone, were you planning on putting...
Oh, walk away from him and ask the next person.
Towards the end of the series, the world building of like outer space was getting more developed, like with abortions and things like that. Were you getting, what were your ideas for later in the show for like how that was going to develop?
I had just something that was actually going to be a more all-encompassing threat to Earth and all of the universe that at some point might be cause for all the planets to team up and fight just to save their own lives. But that never happened, so I'll just steal that idea for something else. So I can't talk about it. What else?
I'm back here.
Since you like games, what's the hardest game you've played, and what's the easiest game you've played?
Hardest games I've played, like where I get frustrated and genuinely cursing at the screen, are rare for me because I'm the best at games. But I don't know if it'll be hard anymore, but I remember really hating the first Devil May Cry. Just where you would beat a boss and just be like, oh, yes! Got you! Away from the TV. And then I went back and played some. Recently, I can't remember. Games seem way easier. Binding of Isaac is really unpleasant to play. It's fun, but it's frustrating. Because you die and you have to finish the game in one sitting. Like old school kind of games. So that's maybe the last one where I'm like, why am I playing this? But enjoying it.
Do you read any webcomics? And if you do, what's your favorite? And have you heard of Homestuck?
Homestuck, I've not read it.
Read it! Read it! Read it! Don't be pushy, people! Let him do what he wants.
I I'm never going to read it now. Because it makes me.
I was wondering, it said that, like, in the unfinished episode that you can't utilize Pat.
Can you get that?
But in one of the episodes, you've seen Jim work on his pack. How does that work exactly? Does he have to be in contact with the pack at all times?
Well, in the episode that you produced when I was called 30 minutes to, what is it?
10 minutes to do.
You guys know what's happening on the show. He survives without it for about 30 minutes, so he works on it.
10.
Listen, I don't watch the show. Honestly, I don't know as much as you guys do about the show. So in the episode, 5 minutes to death, Sam's backpack sticks to do, and so he can survive without it for a little while, and after a certain point, he dies. So we thought about this. So that's why whatever I'm talking about is B.
Over here. By the way, less than 30 minutes now.
Okay.
Hi, I've been watching your show since the first grade, and I've noticed that sometimes...
How are you feeling?
I've noticed that during the progression of the show, the animation has changed, that the lines have become thick. I've been wondering if you prefer the new style of animation or the old style, and for what reason?
Oh, definitely the new one. The show, as it was going along, like every show, it develops, it matures, it starts to settle into what it's going to be, which we never really got to. But I can think of certain episodes where the characters look more like they're supposed to, or the way that I think they're supposed to. But with an audience, they are in on the design process, so they just see things changing, and like, the characters are weird. Like, if you look at the first season of The Simpsons and then watch The Simpsons now, it is so ironed out. It was good and bad. Like, the first season, was really ugly, but it had a lot of character. But now, it's like there's hardly any animation at all. Everything is really stiff. I don't think we were going for that with the later Zim episodes, but we were definitely trying to get the characters to look a bit more solid. Like, I can think of, like, Walk of Doom to me is like the Do Not episode for Zim. It's the ugliest episode I can think of. And people might love it, but in terms of what we were going for, that was like, what have you done? Oh my God. Gas Station or the Christmas episode look way more like the show. It's just a thing that happens as you work on something more and more.
Were you surprised by the change in Jim's character from, like, how hostile he was in the first season to the sassy Jim and Vasquez?
I honestly can't relate to what you're saying because I don't think that like that. I don't think Jim changed. They're like, no. I don't think of them in terms of like season 1 and then season 2 where like this is where things gonna get real. I think like in Friedhood, is that the one that you mentioned? In Friedhood, I can think of a sassy scene where Zen is sitting in the booth with a character and he's like eating his fries and he's waiting at him, he's like doing that thing. Which for that moment, to me, I remember writing it was funny just because it's so not Zen. That's what it's funny to me. Because who is this guy who's talking? The guy doesn't know who Zen is. That's the joke. That the guy doesn't even know who he is, and Zen is talking to him like they're best friends ever on lunch break. So I don't think of it as like Zen changed. I just think of it as us